Thursday Night Football, Jaguars won 31-24 over New Orleans. I remember the line going in this game when I predicted it on Wednesday was Saints -1, which I felt was reasonable. By the time we got to kickoff, it was Saints -2.5. I'm not aware of any major injuries that happened to Jacksonville, obviously outside of Trevor Lawrence, but anything major happening in that regard coming into this game, at least in the 24-hour span between Wednesday and Thursday, is very, very odd. So I'm like, if Saints plus 2.5 is, I'm sorry, Jaguars plus 2.5 is an easy bet. They're handing you money right now. Again, more NFL predictions later in today's show. I did pick the Jaguars to win. And, I said on Wednesday that Dak Prescott had one of the most impressive quarterback performances of 2023, given the circumstances. And I certainly do not want to sound like the boy who cried wolf. Never want to sound like that on this show. But Trevor Lawrence had one of the most impressive quarterback games of 2023, and it's undeniable. He was absolutely, positively spectacular in that game against the New Orleans Saints. So you look at his numbers, you're like, threw for 200 yards, 20 for 29. It's pretty good completion percentage, right? Touchdown, didn't turn the ball over, but QBR 0 to 100 of 84 and a passer rating right at 100. Not to mention Trevor on one leg. Matter of fact, the injury was so bad, his head coach, Doug Peterson, said after the game that on Monday, if you would have asked him if Trevor Lawrence was going to play on Thursday, he would have said no. I mean, Doug Peterson voluntarily said that in the press conference, saying that, hey, 72 hours ago, he wasn't going to play. Trevor went out there, played excellent, led a game-winning drive, threw the game-winning touchdown to Christian Kirk, who made an unbelievable play after the catch, was just 10 yards shy of 100 yards receiving. But Trevor Lawrence, again, and I love Travis Etienne. I think Travis Etienne is an excellent player. Trevor Lawrence, not Etienne, led the Jaguars in rushing. Okay, had 59 yards rushing, 7 yards a carry. By the way, in a stadium in which Trevor has struggled in the past, going back to his days at Clemson, I believe it was only his only 2 losses at Clemson in college for Trevor Lawrence were in that Superdome. I want to call it the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, but I think it's like Caesars or something like that. But he lost to, I think it was LSU and Ohio State back-to-back years in the college football playoffs. So you have those sort of demons. We know I don't believe in this stuff whatsoever, but there's this weird voodoo stuff in New Orleans. Maybe there's some of that. I mean, Trevor wins wherever he goes. If for some reason New Orleans, he just couldn't get over the hump to a certain degree, did last night. What Trevor did, I'll get into Derek Carr in the second segment. I'm going to be the rare person that actually defends Derek Carr. What Trevor did last night is show what a lot of quarterbacks, I should say a lot, but the names we all recognize as great quarterbacks have shown over, I think, especially the last 2 years. I've been saying on Carving Up Live, so 4-year anniversary tomorrow, been saying on this show for 2 years, the last 2 years, that it is a quarterback's league. You live and die by that position. Sure, you can have great defenses, and those are incredibly important. Great weapons, great offensive line, great coaching, to me, is the second most important thing to having great quarterback play. We've seen some average quarterbacks get to the playoffs and even win in the playoffs with great coaching. Running game, the whole bit. If you don't have that guy behind center, if you don't have that dude, you're not going to win the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, you have no chance to win the Super Bowl in the modern NFL. What Trevor Lawrence did last night, facing Derek Carr, who I still like and still believe in. Again, more on Derek Carr later in the show. What Trevor Lawrence showed you was the difference between I know people are crapping on Derek Carr today. I still believe he's a franchise quarterback. Worst case, he's a very good, I shouldn't say that, a good starter. Worst case scenario, he's a good starter. Difference between that and this is a guy who can literally put the franchise on his back every single Sunday and give you the best chance to win. Like, that's what Trevor provides you on a Sunday to Sunday basis. And if you look at Trevor since week 9, I've been saying this, people get on me for this, but since midseason last year, week 9, the Jaguars put together that win streak, won all those games to win the AFC South. They ended up winning that playoff game after being down 27-zip to the Chargers, won that game, and then lost to Kansas City. This year, they're off to a 1-2 start. People are like, Trevor's not going to make that year 3 leap. And even still, Trevor has 8 touchdown passes in 7 games. Again, his numbers are not going to blow you away by any stretch of the imagination. But it's what he's doing given, again, I love the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive pieces. Lawrence, obviously. Etienne, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. I like Evan Ingram. Love Doug Peterson. So I'm good on the Jaguars offense. I picked them to get to the AFC title game and lose to Kansas City. The only reason they will not do that this season, if that's not the case, is because of that defense. I do not trust this defense to save my life. I thought they'd showed signs of life in that win over Indianapolis, taking the ball away, getting to the quarterback. I'm thinking, okay, maybe Jacksonville's defense starting to turn a new leaf. Not really. 24-9 Jaguars. They're in complete control of the game. And Derek Carr, who had been non-existent from an offensive production standpoint in the second half of this game, rather in the second half of this game, they got a hold on, let me bring this. Okay, yeah. They got a touchdown and another touchdown to tie the game up in the second half against a bad defense. Matter of fact, last drive of the game got down into the red zone, in which the play calling was weird. Again, that's something else too. Saints have a bad offensive play caller. Derek Carr has not played well this season. Saints offensive line, particularly the left tackle, terrible this year. And in the second half, they went up and down on Jacksonville's defense. That is a legitimate concern for the Jaguars moving forward if they want to contend for and winning Super Bowl, which I believe they can and are capable of doing in large part because of their quarterback and head coach. But what Trevor did last night, it cannot be understated, or overstated rather, what he did. On one leg against an excellent defense. Again, the Saints, for the Saints' first 6 games, they gave up less than 20 points. Now, you could argue, I mean, those aren't exactly against world-beating quarterbacks. Sure, certainly. There's some Ryan Tannehills, and there's some Mac Joneses in there. They play nobody of the caliber of Trevor Lawrence, no question about that, and they play in a horrendous division. But that's still a great defense. As much as I don't like Dennis Allen as a head coach, he's an excellent defensive coordinator. He's an excellent defensive mind. He's shown that in the past. But again, what Trevor did last night was incredible. I thought the Jaguars would win this game in a typical Thursday night football fashion win, where both teams are exhausted from Sunday. It's kind of an ugly game. It's not great for television. Poor Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit at times are trying to have to make something out of nothing at times. And then you see this guy just putting together performance. Again, Jacksonville's offense couldn't get anything going. The momentum was in favor of the Saints. We know that's one of the toughest places to win in football. Trevor said, hey, I got y'all. And what did he do when it was all said and done? Game tied at 24, all the pressure on Trevor. He puts together a game-winning drive, which the Jaguars scored in 2 plays. That's what he does. That's what he's capable of doing, and that's why he's the 3rd best quarterback in the sport, which I've been saying since the end of last season. Again, a lot about being a great quarterback isn't just put up sexy numbers. Tua Tagovailoa, who I bought into this year, Dolphins fans, you got me on Tua. He's not Trevor. There is, outside of accuracy, which is big, he does nothing better than Trevor. I mean, give Trevor Tyreek and Waddle and Raheem Mostert. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, let's keep it honest here. And even still, if the Dolphins lose this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles and what might potentially be the game of the weekend, the Jaguars and Dolphins will have the exact same record. 5-2 Jacksonville, 4-game winning streak, and Trevor's playing unbelievable football. For the record, I feel terrible about this game next week. They play my Steelers at Acrisure Stadium. God, my Steelers need to win this weekend because I don't feel great about that one next week. Again, more of my Steelers and more of the other picks next week, but goodness gracious, man. Trevor's special. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.